The action plan for implementing the project, which is called Enhancing the Efficiency of Production, Distribution, Supply Chain in Fruit and Vegetable Sector, was signed, and we have shortened the project name, is now called 7 Crops. So we realized that was that this was an extremely long name, so from this point on, we can all say 7 Crops. So the action plan was signed on 21st of November 2018 between the government of St. Lucia and the government of Taiwan. The primary objective of the project is to gain efficiencies in the production and marketing supply chain by enhancing agricultural intelligence information systems, analyzing market demand, and assisting existing farmers and potential farmers plan production cycles and the planting schedules based on market demand. The department, during this first implementation period, we are focused on 7 crops, and somebody, the project coordinator, will tell you which 7 crops they are. Although we cultivate these crops locally, the country imports more than $4.5 million annually, although we cultivate these crops locally. So we are still net importers of those crops. Therefore, the ultimate goal is to become self-sufficient in the production of these said crops and to reduce the importation to zero. And in the future, perhaps we should become exporters of those crops. So this requires a sterling partnership between the Embassy of Taiwan, the ICDF, Mr. Mario Cheng, and the ICDF Taiwanese technical team, the new marketing entity, proposed new marketing entity, and of course, most importantly, the farmers, because without you farmers, there's nothing will be grown if you decide not to grow them. So today, 25th October 2019, Friday, marks the launch of the project and also significantly marks the graduation ceremony of farmers who have received training under this said project. And Mr. Jean-Baptiste has intimated that your graduation is a project deliverable, which is correctly so. And you have received instruction in the areas of good agricultural practices, marketing, business planning, post-harvest technology, production scheduling, cultivation management, and record keeping. So I guess after this training, you should be exemplary farmers, top quality. To make the project successful requires the dedication and commitment of all stakeholders, each and every one of you. If we want to have a zero import of those said products, we need the full commitment of each and every one of you. And so today, the main element, the main idea I want to communicate and urge you all to continue and put the hard work necessary to make this project objective successful. I thank you all.
On behalf of the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan, it's my great pleasure to attend the launch ceremony of this so-called project for enhancing of the efficiency of production, distribution, supply chain in the fruit and the vegetable sector in St. Lucia. I want to also quote my good friend, Minister Joseph, from his Wolford Day Fair remarks. He said that the biggest challenge St. Lucia agriculture facing today is how to achieve food security and also combat climate change. So, regarding to the food security, we all know St. Lucian people spend so much money, as P.S. Felicia mentioned, to import 7 important fruits and vegetables, such as cabbage, watermelon, cantaloupe, and the tomatoes from overseas. The import value is increasing every year. Therefore, Taiwanese government is willing to work with the government of St. Lucia to reverse this trend and promote local production and the consumption of the 7 important crops on a sustainable basis. For instance, the project will develop an intelligent agricultural information system to monitor the situation on the field, which is critical to manage resources, plan production schedule, and analyze the demand and the supply from the market end. Hence, to increase efficiency of the supply chain. We also know that climate change is affecting us, affecting everyone. And I'm happy to report to my St. Lucia friend that the project also includes climate adaptation techniques, mini thermal greenhouses, and the post-harvest processing and the packaging techniques. This initiative will assist local farmers to establish stable selling channel to new marketing entity, increase their income, and deliver high-quality food to the table of every household on this island. My friends, we are gathering here today not only to celebrate the official launch of the project, but also, as you know, we all put in green t-shirt. That means today is also the commencement ceremony of farmers training workshop. The workshop provides an opportunity of knowing where we are and where we tend to go. I want to congratulate those who finished the training programs and are ready to contribute and engage more. Dear Minister, Taiwan is committed to support the growth and the development of the island agriculture and the rural economy. We are also looking forward to further collaborate with the government of St. Lucia to continue to promote human capacity building and resilience to the climate change in the future. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues at the Taiwan Technical Mission in St. Lucia. Since the restoration of diplomatic ties between our two countries in year 2007, Taiwan Technical Mission has been devoted to promote human capacity building and the technical improvement in St. Lucia's agricultural sectors. In conclusion, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the people attending the ceremony today. I believe the project will be a successful one, and that we will gather again soon to review its accomplishments together again in the near future. I thank you.
It's a good timing where today we are officially launching our imports. Well, the PS call it the 7 crops. I call it the imports, the vegetable import substitution program. Why? Because we're all celebrating what our month, a Creole month. And of course, when we speak about Creole month, we speak about food. Like was said by the chair, when I came back in 2016, I met with my technical staff in the Ministry of Agriculture for us to have some general discussions as to what we can do as it pertains to reducing our food import bill. I've been chastised and called a minister for FIG, and I do nothing for the other aspects of agriculture. But I'm sure all of us would agree that my ministry and my government are very much interested in the agriculture department, and we do all we can with limited resources to support our farmers. So I'm happy that the outcome of that discussion bore fruit to this project. Because I remember Mr. Sidney bringing information to me as it pertains to our food import bill over the years. And it's very frightening to see that every year, our food import bill is increasing. So that is clearly telling us that there are opportunities. But we cannot continue to do the things that we are doing the way we are doing it. And based on this discussion with my technical staff in the ministry, we agreed to develop a vegetable import substitution program targeting in the first instance 7 crops we believe we can grow in St. Lucia on a sustainable basis. And I'm sure by now every farmer here should be quite familiar with the 7 crops that we have so identified. Now the intention is to reduce the importation of these crops. The reality is that we are producing these crops. But when we do the analysis, we realize that there's a time in the year where our importation of these crops are very high. And the reason for this is more difficult for us to cultivate these crops during the rainy season, which fortunately, if you look at it from the positive side, which fortunately coincides with our tourism period. So when our tourists coming in, that's the time we find it more difficult for us to grow these crops. But of course, we can grow it if we introduce new technology and if we do things differently. Because we all know that some of the challenges that our farmers are faced with, 1, a reliable supply of inputs, 2, a reliable market. And I want to compliment Marcy for the work they are doing, because if Marcy was not doing what they are doing right now, I don't know where we would be in agriculture. I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Demille, for the work you're doing under your leadership. But Marcy can't do it alone. Because when you look at the level of importation every year, that tells us that we need a marketing structure that can provide that service to our farmers. And that is why the Cabinet of Ministers decided to restructure the St. Lucia Marketing Board and not to privatize it. Because if we put it in private hands, we know the challenges that we're faced with. And the mere fact that the Cabinet of Ministers had approved that project, we felt it was important to keep the marketing board, to restructure it so it can provide a reliable market for our farmers in St. Lucia. And I'm really looking forward to see the day where we can launch that new marketing entity. Another challenge we face with, when I say we, I put in my farmer's cap there, technology. And we know, like I said earlier, the time that there's a demand for the crop is during the rainy season. And that's the time we find a lot of difficulty in producing the crop. So the project that we have developed makes provision for new technology. We are not going to do things the way we used to do it traditionally. And I can say here at this point in time that with the support of the government and people of Taiwan, we have gotten both financial and technical support. And the financial support will be for a period of 3 years. So which means that this project, for the next 3 years, we should see a reduction. You hear me? We should see a reduction in the importation of the 7 crops that we have identified. That is the objective. Because if we do not meet that objective, then we would be wasting the resources that have been given to us, both financial and technical resources that have been given to us through a grant funding from the government and people of Taiwan. So we have to make sure that we, and I say we, all of us here, make sure that we put our shoulders to the wheel to achieve this objective. Because when you look at the importation of these crops over the years, $4, $5, $6 million, that is significant. And when you look at one of these crops, for example, lettuce, 1 year we imported over $1 million worth of lettuce. We peut pas faire ça ici? We can. So I'm saying that I have the fullest confidence that we can, with the improved technologies that will be introduced to us from Mario and his technical team from the ICDF mission, we should be able to cultivate the crops when they are needed. The whole aspect of irrigation is also important. Because whilst we speak about we have no control over the amount of rain, of course with greenhouse we can overcome that. We have no control over wind, but we have control over drought. And in the whole, based on what we are doing, the whole aspect of irrigation will be critical. I want to say that we have agreed to bring on small hand tillers. How many of them? 7 of them? 8 of them? 8 small hand tillers, which should be distributed throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia. So farmers should be able to get support for land preparation on a timely basis. In addition to the tillers, we are also bringing on some heavier equipment so that you can get the support. So the project is not only targeting the crops, but we are also looking at giving support to our farmers for them to be able to cultivate on a timely basis. Of course, the whole aspect of inputs will be given. Well, let me rephrase that. Not given, but you'll be paying half price. Don't me? You'll go quiet. Because the reason why we think that we should at least generate some revenue from the inputs that you'll be purchasing, because we want to have a revolving fund. The project, I say, have a life cycle. What happens after the project comes to an end? We don't want it to die. We want to continue it. So the mere fact that you'll be getting inputs at a subsidized rate, that money will be generated back into the project to buy more inputs as we move forward and as we increase the number of crops that we'll be identifying to reduce on the importation of these crops. Another very important role, or very important component, is the question of a pack house. We are getting a lot of opportunities, and the PS spoke to it. We are getting a lot of opportunities to export. But one of our biggest challenges is that we don't have a certified pack house. So whilst we are looking to reduce the importation of a number of crops, we are also trying to explore opportunities for export, especially in the regional and international market. So with the support of the government and people of Taiwan, we are going to refurbish a section of the IRDC in Otsa, where we shall build a pack house to be recognized and to be certified by international organizations. So that will allow us to be able to export our crops in the region and, of course, internationally. And that's where Mr. Edmund comes in to give us that technical support. I want to say that for us to be successful, and I have no doubt we will be successful, I want to echo the plea made by my permanent secretary. We all have to be committed to this project. We all have to be committed to this project. When I say all, I mean you, the farmers, our extension officers, our respective organizations, for example, ICA, CADI, FAO, OECS, our marketing entities, and of course, most importantly, our extension officers. We have to be committed to this project. This is the last chance we would have to really create a dent on our food import bill. Grant funding is not easy to come by. We are getting that support from the government and people of Taiwan under the leadership of Ambassador Douglas Cheng and Mario as the technical person. Let's make use of it. Now, farmers, I've been around long enough, and we'll be giving you support. We will tell you what amount of, how many acres you can plant in a certain crop. We will be advising you as to when to plant it. You'll be going into a contractual arrangement with the new marketing entity at a certain price. I am praying. I know some of us. I'm praying. And I'm sure Mr. Demil from Marcy can attest to this. Somebody just come and give us 10 cents more, and we go and sell to that person and break our contract. Now, when we do that, we are creating problems in the chain, because the marketing entity would have made commitments to a certain outlet, and if you do not bring the produce in, you are scrapping the entire project. I'm calling on every farmer here, please, to be committed. If you're not serious, now I will say it today, if you're not serious, do not put your name into the pool of farmers. We want every farmer to be serious. We want every farmer to be committed to this project. You all heard me? Because I have given strict instructions to my extension officers. Any farmer who do not adhere to the advice given to him or her should not continue to be part of this project. And I'm serious about that. Now, of course, my extension officers, I have something they call it telephone extension, where they stay at their home and they call you, what you have under your greenhouse, or how your tomatoes doing. And whenever I get this call, I do not answer. I think our extension officers have to go out there and work with the farmers. Because when you go out there, you can see what's happening and be able to advise the farmer the correct way. So every extension officer would have clear targets. Every extension officer would have a group of farmers working with. And I'll be monitoring them very, very closely with my PS and my DPS and our respective heads. Because we need that collaboration between our farmers and our extension officers. We need reliable information. Because without reliable information, we cannot continue our scheduling. We cannot continue to commit to engaging our respective outlets. So every link in this chain is important. So I'm calling for all of us here to see this as an opportunity, once and for all, to reduce our food import bill as it pertains to the 7 crops. And of course, to provide an opportunity to export to the region and internationally. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm really looking forward to working with everyone. I know we have started a training program as far as the farmers are concerned, getting them certified, because it's also important, not a matter of production alone, but it's also important that whatever we produce is healthy enough. And the question of the use of chemicals is critical. We have to know and have to be properly trained how to use the chemicals so that we don't create more problems by feeding our people. We know we give them healthy food, and they have been encouraged to eat our locally grown produce. Because just yesterday, I was at a board meeting, and it's true, that's the thinking out there. Certain individuals say, well, I ain't eating vegetables anywhere because the farmers are spraying, you know. And we have to change that mindset. We don't know what's coming from overseas, but we know we can control and manage what we are producing locally. And you have that responsibility to make sure that whatever you're doing, we do it properly, and we feed our people with healthy and safe food. So I want to say thank you very much to you, Mr. Ambassador, and to your team, Mario, and all those who are involved and were able to get the necessary support for the government and people of Taiwan. I want to say thank you to my PS, understanding and appreciating and agreeing to work along with the respective heads in putting this project together. I want to say thank you very much to the Chief of Extension and, of course, our newly appointed head of the project, Ms. Yudovic, and to all the officers and farmers who have agreed and committed to working along with us and to make this project the success we know it can be. So I'm really looking forward next year to see a reduction in the importation of these crops, and if we are not achieving that, something is wrong. So thank you very much.